Hello.
Yes, ma'am, clear now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I would like to
Welcome.
welcome our today's guest speaker, Sumita. Thanks for joining with us today. Thank you. And before going to the session, I would like to give us a small introduction about her. Sumita, she is working as an associate consultant at Infosys, and she has goal to complete certification course in Samatri MDM. Prior to Infosys, she has worked as an associate at Cognizant Technology Solutions, India, where she primarily worked on Samashi MDM platform. Sumeta holds master degree in MBA HR from Bhadridasan University, Tamil Nadu, India, and a bachelor degree in computer science and engineering from Tamil Nadu College of Engineering and Technology, Tamil Nadu. Okay, now I would like to call Sumeta to deliver her presentation.
Hi, hello everybody. Sorry, I got a network issue. Sorry to go down. Hello everyone. Hope I'm audible. Can anybody confirm if my voice is clear?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
You are audible, sorry. You are audible.
Very good evening to everybody. I'm Sumekha Jiva. I work as an MDM analyst in Infosys. I would like to appreciate each and everybody who's here in this forum, as this is a Sunday evening and you have taken some effort to come and join the session to understand something about what is master data and how it will uh, be helpful for you in terms of industrial aspects. I would like to share my screen. You guys can confirm if my screen is visible. And one more request, I would like each and everybody to be on mute throughout the session, and we'll be taking up the Q&A at the end of the sessions. Okay, so let's not put any questions in the middle of the session. So that is one request from my side, and please stay on mute. Guys, I'm sharing my screen. Please let me know if it is visible. Okay.
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So I believe in the last 2 days of the workshop of data management, initially you would have understood the basics of what is data, data warehousing, governance, and so on, which would be covered by Bhavani, and followed by yesterday's session, which will be morely of ETL process, which is the before stage of master data management. We used to extract, transform, and load the data either through the SQL scripts or through the Apache Airflow, like any kind of automation system that the company can adopt with. So the next stage of that is MDM, which is the master data management. This has a very good opportunities in terms of industry. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about the tools which is like Informatica, Ratio, Samarkey, and also these are like master data management tools. And I work for one of the tool which is Samarkey. It is a master data management tool. I work there as a developer. Okay, so this is all about a quick glimpse of what master data management, what are the tools which is there for this. So in this session, I'll make sure to give at least a overview. Of course, I can't cover the end-to-end aspect fully, but at least in the next 1 hour, let's try to cover the most of what is master data management. Okay, and how it actually works in terms of industrial aspect. Okay, so moving to the next slide. So master data management. So let's say where is data? I mean, data is everywhere today, right? Be it when we order in Swiggy, Zomato, data plays a major role, and cloud has been boomed in recent days. So data is everywhere. So MDM, if you see, uh, it comes into picture in a multiple ways, and we have clients coming from different aspects. Let's say I have worked for a pharma client first, and now I'm working for a shipping and logistics client. So how this works in terms of project, I would like to just relate each and everything towards my experience. This is because to give you a real time understanding of how the system actually works, okay, rather than going with the general points. So let's say I have a huge amount of data, okay, and I wanted to maintain only the finest data, let's say the purest form of data. To make it in simple terms, as an Indian citizen, we all do have a Aadhaar number, PAN number, and so on for our identification. Okay, so
Ma'am, your
let's say
slides are not moving.
I'm in the slide two. Is it visible like master data management? Is it
No,
visible or
Smita, it's first slide. Can you please say
No, my
again?
first slide is there.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm resharing? Cool. Is it visible now?
Yeah, it is visible now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. So coming to the point, as an Indian citizen, we all have different numbers for our identification. Let's say, as a Sumeta, I have done a UG in some college and I'm doing PG in another college. Maybe I would have given different details in the sense, let's say, other number alone in one college. I'm just trying to give you an example, okay? And in another college, I've given my PAN number and so on. So in my system, let's say database, I have so many datas, let's say Sumeta with 10 records. And I don't want all the 10 records to exist. I should only give to my customer one data, which is the finest and purest, that is known as the golden data. Okay. So I'll try to consolidate all the datas together. So when I mean Sumeta, that profile should have my address, my phone number, my other details, my PAN details, and so on as per the requirement of the business. So making one finest data is what master data management is, and that's how this is coming into picture. Okay. As I said, we have different tools which has been used for this MDM. I'll be explaining more about Samarkey as it is possible because I'm basically a Samarkey developer. I've not been into Informatica ratios and so on, but it is also a similar tool which is used for MDM. Okay, so moving to the next slide. It is, I mean, MDM is a wider data strategy. We do follow this top-down approach and bottom-up approach, which generally where we can see this in every process of IT at least. Okay, coming to the data governance, we have to understand the people, what the process is. So data governance is mostly on defining the policies and accuracies of it is the linking element of data management. Okay, and next is the leveraging. I hope the next slide is visible, guys, just to confirm. Sorry. I'm
Yes,
Yeah, it
seeing
ma'am.
the slide. Okay, okay. Okay, so the next thing is leveraging and managing the data. Okay, this means that here we have multiple elements which is coming into picture. One is the master data management that we'll be seeing more about in the upcoming slides. We have data warehouse, we have business intelligence, so big data. So all together, it comes when we mean data, it is a big round of market is there, and we do have multiple projects and clients. We can't even imagine how data is grooming all these days. Everywhere data is coming into picture, and we have to maintain all these things, and especially in terms of cloud, we are managing in these days at least. Okay, so the way how we are going to present the data to the end users, so that matters a lot also. So that will be your tomorrow session on Tableau, Power BI, ClickView, ClickSense. So all these are data visualization tools. So I have prepared a data and I know what is the finest data. So with this data, how my client is needing this, do they want this in a visual way, or should I just give them so that in a kind of CRM, which is nothing but the customer relationship management, which you used to say. So in terms of CRM, so something of that kind of support which is needed from their side. So that is about how we are leveraging and managing the data. And the next thing is coordinating and integrating with the other data sources. So I believe in the previous session, Rajesh might have covered about the ETL process. Just wanted to go back to that quickly. So what will happen is, let's say I'm running a pharma company, and I have multiple datas. Okay, so I'll go and dump all these datas in a pool so that the business can, the IT team can pull the data from the data lake. Okay, so processing initial set of processing starts. What we will do initial step is we'll try to make sure few checks and points are being balanced, meaning let's say I want phone number only in 10 digits, not more than that. So this quality check should be passed in the initial process itself, before I pull the data from a business source to my ETL tool. Okay, let's say I as a project which we take from the company that we are working for, we do have a separate database. So when we are pulling that kind of data from the client source, we'll be trying to check these data qualities. Let's say the phone number, or let's say we do not want any special characters in name and all. It can't be SU and a kind of ambition or any special characters which is in between the name, or which these things are not accepted at all. So these data quality and check should be passed before pulling the data from the client system to our database. Once these check pointers are passed, then only we'll try to pull the data into ours. And let's imagine that the data is in our system now. And from here, what I'm going to do, so I'll try to, I've already extracted and I've made sure that the data quality is good. I'll try to transform it. So this transformation mainly involves, let's say, today I received 10 set of records. Okay. In that 10 set of records, one record I'm receiving with the data profile, like Ramya, let's say, for example. So I have today Ramya with the phone number only. And let's imagine tomorrow also, when the business is sending me 10 set of records, I do have a record with Ramya name, but with a different phone number. Maybe Ramya has updated her phone number. So this case, what happens is a data updation happens. So when the data is coming to our system initially, which is nothing but the insert process happens, because it is the new data to our database, and we do not have that record as beforehand. So what we do is we consider those records as a new insert, and if there are any updations for the those record, we used to update it accordingly. And when there is no more need of record, let's, in this deletion of record usually used to happen as per the data governance, which means the policies that the people define generally. They'll have a policy. Okay, let's say if a data is not coming to your system for next 30 days, you can feel free to delete it. So when the deletion thing comes into picture, we used to consider this create date and update dates, and also as per that we'll try to update the flags so that this record is not available in the system anymore. So this is how the data integration, the ETL process and all used to happen. And finally, the landing layer will be to the SD layer, which means the initial layer of master data management. Okay, so let's say I'm in Semarkey. So Semarkey has an initial data layer, which is nothing but the source data, SD data. So before that, these ETL process happens where the data gets transformed into different tables as per the requirement, like current history and delta tables, where few logics comes into pictures, like as I said, the insert, update, and all based on the flag. And from there, the data gets landed into the final layer, which is nothing but the source data layer, SD layer. Okay. So coming to again understanding more about master data, this management process is very big. The data that we deal is very big. We deal with millions of data. Uh, so for which, as a human, it's very important that we define a set of rules for that, because we can't definitely sit and manually through eyeball, we can't go and monitor whether the data is duplicate or it's a new record and so on. So we have defined a certain rules, and that is how we are managing it. So we do have an actor which is known as steward, who's technically known as a data steward. Okay, so what does data steward generally do is they will be acting as a person who knows the business policies which have been defined as per the terms and conditions. They know which record to keep in system and which record they should not, in spite of the rules. Let's say the stewardship will be acting based on the Samarkey UI. We do have a separate Samarkey UI. Samarkey explanation, how to create things. It is all a very big process, which I can't bring in at least this 1 hour of session. But I'm just helping you to visualize things. So let's imagine that we have a UI. So where we have one page where data steward will have an access to go and take an action saying that, okay, I can keep this record in the system because it matches the rules and regulations. So if you ask a question, are all the records being managed only by data stewards? Definitely not. Which records are handled by data stewards? So this is the next question. So we define certain rules. Let's say we define a matching rule. We define a survivorship rule. So what is matching rule? What is survivorship rule? Next question. So match rules are nothing but I do have two, or let's say three, let's say four records for that matter. So I do have four records which are similar, and I don't want all the four records to survey only one, because all the other three are duplicate records. Okay, so now which record should I keep in the system? So I make sure that I define certain rules. Let's say when the name is matching, when the long name is matching, or when the address is matching, I should keep this record for, I should consider this record first. Okay, so there will be a threshold which has been set, which I'll be talking about the matching rules even in the next slides. So, but to cover it up, so I'll be defining a threshold. So when the match is there for 90%, okay, in one record I have only Sumeta J, and in other record I have Sumeta Jiva. And if I define the threshold as 60%, then which means that the matching is happening and it will undergo match and merge. So this is nothing but the automatic merge which Samarkey itself does, or any other tool for that matter, it does, to match, to compare basically with the other records. It will do a kind of matching according to the threshold value which is being defined, and it undergoes an automatic match and merge. For the records which seems to be matching, let's assume that there is a 60 threshold which is defined. There is a 50% of matching, or let's say 55% of matching, but I don't know whether this record should match and merge by the system automatically. So what the system does for those kind of records is it just pulls all the records which are under those categories, and it will put under one screen for data steward to come and act on it. So steward as his role is to go and individually review the record and try to take an action on that. So these are the process which happens before a record goes as a finest golden record. So when a record enters into a Samarkey, the initial layer is SD layer, which is the source data. It is the direct one-to-one mapping of whatever records which is there in ETL, the final stage of ETL process. Okay, I pull all the records and I initially load into SD. From there, we do have different kind of jobs which used to be triggered by Samarkey for each and every set of actions that we take. Let's say for match and merge, to split the records, something of that sort. So we have different jobs which has been running by the Samarkey system, or any master data management tool for that matter. So all these will trigger different jobs, and the data gets landed from SD to MD, which is master data. From MD, it will go to GD, which is the golden data. So that golden data will be the final data which will be sharing it to the downstream system in the sense to the different customers, let's say, for okay. So that is how it will happen. So in simple terms, we have to maintain this accurate data, the uniformity. So when we talk about 50, 100 data, it is easy to manage in a human way. But when we talk about a huge amount of data, it's definitely we need the help of all these tools and technologies to make sure that things are in line. Okay. So moving to the next slide. most of the organizations are already using data management tools. But if you ask me, Samarki is a very niche technology which is there in the industry right now. We do have very less developers for Samarki, but if you consider tools like Informatica, Railshow, it is all like booming. Okay, people take up projects in these tools and technologies because, of course, each and every tools have its pros and cons. And now, if you ask me, if you want to begin something with MDM, which you want to learn and pursue, so you can go with Informatica and Railshow and all. Okay. Um, so this is just the survey which has been taken to understand how the company has been adopted towards this data management and all, whether they are at the beginner level, or they are very frequently using the smart master data management tool, or few companies they don't even need this tools and technologies and all. So this is all about it's how it is there in the current industry. Okay. So when you want to adopt this MDM tool, okay, so we want to understand our customer in all the perspective. Okay, so these are few examples where data comes into picture. I mean, just to give you an understanding that when we just purchase mobile phone in online, our data will be stored there. Okay, I can purchase a mobile phone 4 years back in Amazon, and I do purchase these same. I mean, maybe a different mobile phone in the same platform, Amazon. Maybe yesterday, let's say. So this is all about data management. Again, if you see here, it's the same person, but I'm purchasing a different mobile phone at different point of time with a different price and so on. So like this, if you take all the scenarios, data plays a vital role, and definitely the industry is in need of maintaining all these data for different purpose. So it depends on their kind of work. Let's say, for if you ask me, for pharma company, what is the need to maintain, they definitely they want to know their patient details, meaning to supply their medicines to the required address, and also for this they need to maintain the data. And if you ask me, for a shipping and logistics company right now which I'm working for, why they need to maintain the data, because uh, it's a huge company where they manage multiple, it's a kind of interlink of the business, where they wanted this for shipping purpose. Let's say I've ordered something from, again, like Amazon, and I wanted that product in my hand. How is this coming? It may be from other company also, I mean other country also, the manufacturer, but I need it at some point of time. So here it is all coming into picture, like shipping and logistics. So they have to bring the product to us. So for this, they all need is data and maintenance of the finest data on it. Okay, so we need to understand our customers. So what is their requirement initially, what is their business, why they need this master data management as a requirement, and how they want their data to be, whether it will be a kind of daily refresh, it depends. So sometimes what happens is the client will be sharing us the detail daily, on a daily basis, so that an ETL job runs, and we'll be trying to, mostly it will be a daily process. For very few sources, maybe it will be like weekly once or weekly twice, where they used to supply us the data, and we'll use to process it for the next stage. As I said, it is an ETL process, and it will come to Samarki from SD, MD to GD. We'll be trying to give that final GD data either in the Excel file or CSV file as per the requirement. So that is one way of requirement, or otherwise they wanted to be in a visual way of representation, like Power BI, Tableau tools will be used to present their data. Okay, so there is something called as this transactional data, master data. We have this referential data also, which is coming into picture. So to make you understand in simple terms, master data is all about the nouns. The just you see in this example, we have customer, we have date, product, we have code, price, quantity, location, and so on. So here the nouns, let's consider the customer, product, all these are nouns, right? So these are the master data. Okay, and if you ask me what is transaction data, the action that we do, I mean we are buying something, it's a verb. let's say. Okay, so I buy something, when I'm doing it, okay, at what time I'm doing it, for how much cost I'm buying it. So all these are transactional data. So what is reference data, which is something which is not there in the slide, but I'll try to cover it up. So referential data is something, let's say today I buy a bottle in a Flipkart and the cost of the bottle is 50 rupees. And let's say after 1 year, I'm trying to purchase the same bottle and the cost is 70 rupees. So here the price of the product varies. Okay, so it's the category is bottle only. The price of the product varies. Guys, sorry, I can see somebody is on not mute. Can you please unmute him? Um, okay. Okay. So the price of the product is changing here, right? So this is all referential data which might vary at any point of time. So all these values mostly will be updating on a daily basis or monthly basis or yearly basis as per their client requirement. Okay, and all these values will be loaded as an LOVs, which keeps on changing, which is generally known as the referential data. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Yeah, it's the following, it's just the continuation of the previous slide. So you see here, reference data is the country code which I've mentioned and the state codes. So the name change from Madras to Chennai, Bangalore to Bangalore. So something like this. This keeps changing, but it is not very frequent change. It depends based on the variation. We'll try to change these values, and mostly it will be kind of LOV, which will be used for the data management process. Okay, so this is to give you an idea about what is master data, what is transaction data, and what is reference data. Okay, um, moving on to the next slide. So here is where I can give you more ideas and examples of what master data management in next upcoming slides. So if you see here in this slide, you see this blue box which is written as MDM golden data. So this golden data, guys, I'm sorry, I can see somebody again on a new. It will be great if you all be on mute for the second, please. Huh? Um, So with that note, moving, you can see here something which is MDM written as golden data. So this golden data that we are producing, it gets supplied in a different way as per the requirement. It can be either through to the CRM or to the in-store sales, marketing, online sales. It can be anything as per the requirement. So each system, if you see, it has its unique functionality. They will have different data models. We can't expect the when I mean data model, I'll talk about the physical and logical model of how the data should be for the client as per their needs. So that's how it will be designed to. Okay, you see here data stewardship validation is there. We have data quality and matching. We have publish and subscribe here. We have a data model. We have ETL process here, and we have finally this BI and reporting tool. And this side, if you see, we have a end user application from where we do this lookup, and we do have a reference data for this MDM, this golden data to be achievable one. Let me make it very simple so that you guys can catch up quickly. So as I was telling you, we have this even before, data stewardship action will be the final call after all the jobs have been done in a SMRkey from SD to MD, MD to GD, and final call it will go to data stewardship for them to validate as per the requirements and guidelines which has been defined for the client, and that's how they used to validate the data. Not everybody will have that access and privileges to take an action. Okay. uh, if you ask about this data quality and matching, as I said, um, okay, as I said, this data quality and matching, when the record is coming to SDU, how it will happen is we generate these unique IDs Okay, which will be a sequence of IDs where Samarki generate for each and every record which is coming, which will be acting as a reference ID throughout the process from the flow, the SD, MD, and GD that I'm generally talking about. Okay, so with this ID, we'll consider that as a unique ID, and it will not be same for any of the records. So it is a Samarki generated ID or any system generated ID, let's say. Okay, so from there we'll be taking it as a reference column, and we'll be trying to, we'll have multiple tables. I'm not just talking about one table. Let's say you guys will generally know we have this parent table, we have this child table, and we follow a kind of hierarchy on how the data should flow from one table to another. So initially what will happen is, even before we develop things, we'll be having something called as a mapping document, which means we used to means as a developing team, we used to map the columns based on, again, it is all defined as per the requirement of the client. We'll try to map tables on how the data flow should be, on which table we have to take reference from, so what should be the primary key and how we are defining the foreign keys for that matter. Okay, and these jobs, these marquee jobs, mostly it will be triggered by Samarki only. Let's say for a worst case, I'm not able to generate some IDs, we'll be using things in the database too. But again, coming to this data quality and matching, um, we have multiple tables which is coming into system, and there are a lot of errors also will happen in Samark. If you ask me, okay, let's say I already have a proper data in my ETL system, I've already rejected the records as per the checks and balances which I have. What will happen once data reaches into this SD layer, or the so-called or Samarki processing, what it does here also, what happens is there are most of the records, which not most of the records, some of the records, let's say, which where the probability is more that it will get errored out, meaning it will go into a set of tables which is defined only for the records which are there in error state to enter. Okay, we'll define, again, it's all these scripts that we used to define in the backend to make sure that when the data is not meeting the standard, okay, I don't have few checks and point balances only will happen in the ETL process, not everything will define there, very few process used to happen. And when it is entering into Samarki, we have a proper end-to-end validations which used to happen. Okay, and if it is not matching, definitely Samarki processing itself will not happen in the initial layer itself of SD. We have tables and all, so which is defined. So for errored out records, so SE records, which you used to say, so data will start entering into those tables. So we have errored out tables, and you can ask me. Next question is, I say that from SD it moves to MD, which is nothing but master data. And what will happen when the data keeps on loading? For example, let's say today I get 100 records, tomorrow 1000, and maybe in the next day I get 1 lakh records. How do I maintain these? I also have this history table for consideration, where I used to have all the data which is coming into the system, to just have a track on it. Okay, how the data has been came, and what were the details which was being shared on that particular date. Okay, and if it is needed in future, we'll be trying to trace it back to understand the things if we have any issues for that. Okay, so this is how we ensure that the data quality is and all happening, and we define a perfect match rule for that, and for business to have a proper view, and even to data stewardship to go and take an action on this UI. Okay, on whatever tool that they're developing, be it Informatica, issue, whatever it is. So for them to go and view it, to take an action, so for all these stuffs, we'll be making sure that we build a perfect UI also for them. um, okay, for them to make sure the data is in a very good way, and we have only the finest data going out from the system. So this publish and subscribe, what we mean, as I said, when the data is at the final stage, which is the golden data, and I wanted this data to move into the next set of process, which means it's all ready. Okay, you have already cooked the product and it is there in your table, and you just wanted to eat it. So what we used to do is, again, we used to send these files which is already been ready as per the requirement. We'll be publishing it, we'll be putting it in a shared path, okay, which is the SFTP. I mean, it's a shared path, and from there the client can consume the files. Okay, and what will happen is, when these files are not being sent in a proper point of time, we'll be having many issues which is coming. Because just imagine, you are running a company where you we are actively sending medicines each and every day, as per the patient needs and all. And when the patient is getting relief from some disease which he or she was suffering from before, and now when they are good out, they don't want any medicines in a further days. So they all want, all these notifications should be sent to the client so that they take action accordingly. So when things are missed, it brings into a big problem. And when some wrong data is sent out from the system, there also big trouble comes into picture. Okay, so mostly, like, we should make sure that the records are going in a very good way. And a few kind of human checks and balances will also happen. We'll try to at least see whether the files are sent in a proper format, on we don't have any zero record files which is going out from the system. If it is zero record, we'll try to understand why the file that has been sent on that day has zero record. Was it the problem with the jobs that we have ran on that day, or the data quality and matching, some process has not worked on that day? We'll try to understand all these things. Okay, and as I said, if they wanted to view it, we have this this is again a different branch of data visualization. I mean, different teams used to come and sit and develop for the huge data sets on how these data, which has been already goldenized, has to be shown up to the business or the client. Okay, so moving to the next slide. So if you see this, the previous slide, as I told you, each and every system, as per the requirement, they have a different data models. And if you see in this current slide, this is just the subset of the source system which has been created. Okay, it's again the same. We have this ETL process which is been running. Okay, to ensure the data checks and qualities, which we used to do in the initial stage. Okay, moving to the next slide. So you see here, matching rules helps to create a golden record. So this is a major thing that we used to do, and defining these match rules will be based on the requirement of the client. They'll say, okay, when I or when you just receive records with multiple names on, maybe let's say 4 or 5 records with the same name, then you go ahead and merge it. So now what I'll do, I'll go and write a rule or the query, so that considering the date and all, in such a way that the records automatically merge when the threshold, when it passes the threshold. Okay, 60%, 70%, 90%, so like that we can define the threshold. And when it crosses that value, the match and merge happens. I already talked about survivorship rule, I just told them, but I didn't discuss in brief. So what is survivorship rule? So just like matching rule, survivorship rule is also something, how can I say? So let's say, I I I run away. Let's say I'm running this Amazon. Okay, I have suppliers from different fields and domains, but I manage all together. Amazon is one brand, right? So I have suppliers from different domains and products, whatever it is. So now, what I'm doing is, with this survivorship rule, I used to keep only one source of data as a trusted data. Okay, so that I'll be using only that record to survive in my system. Okay, so this is how it is defined. So I'm just getting medicines, or let's say I'm getting, what can I say, I'm getting any kind of food product, let's say dates I'm getting from Amazon. So different brands dates you can see in Amazon. And I wanted to make sure that which one is the trusted one in sense, when I'm supplying the data for that matter, I am as a source, this source system will always send mobile number correctly when compared with the other sources. Okay, so when that is the it this is all defined by whom? Again, it's the from the client. So when I have these kind of definitions, these sets of policies which has been defined, so I'll make sure that only when the data is supplied by so and so company, I'm going to consider out of the 4 or 5 records which I have, if I get a mobile number from this particular source, I should make sure that I keep only the record mobile number with a record which is having from that source should be surveyed in my system. So this is what survivorship rule is all about. Okay, matching rule will help us to match and merge, and I have the finest record, and from there, after that is where survivorship rules will be applied on the matched records. Okay, so which one should I keep? Okay, as a doctor, maybe let's say, let's take another example. I'm a doctor and I work for different hospitals, meaning maybe on daytime I work for one hospital, and evening I go and work for another hospital, let's say one for Apollo and another for KMC for that matter. So I'm specialized in let's say I'm an ophthalmologist too. So as a doctor I work for both these hospitals. Okay, and I'm specialized in the same field. I've given one set of data in one hospital, let's say the phone number. I've given one in one hospital, in another hospital I've given another phone number. But which one to keep is what we have to decide, right? So this is already been defined by system. If you have a phone number from this source system, then you survey only this in the uh, data management process. Okay, and you need not consider the other one. So this is how we will come to a final decision on which record should survive in the system too. Okay, for this we'll be defining another set of rules, just like how we do for match and merge process. We have the survivorship rules which has been defined. Moving to the next slide. So we have this data model, we have this matching rules. It is all being defined. As I said, we'll try to understand based on the requirement which to keep as the primary key, because Aadhaar number, it's all like unique. It's not like for phone number, it may be different, right? We can have multiple phone numbers, but if you see Aadhaar card, it's a unique ID, it should be the same. So those kind of unique features, unique attributes, we'll be having it as a primary key, and we'll be having as, defining in the reference table what should be the alternative one. So we'll be try to define it accordingly, so that the data model, which consists of both physical and logical way of defining things, are also being taken into considerations. Okay, date of birth, it will be same. Say for example, I'm the person, I should have only one date of birth. There is no difference. I can't have multiple date of birth, right? So there are few things which will be always standard: first name, last name. It can be name, we can change, right? We have an option to change. So these stuffs, it varies, and based on that we'll try to keep which elements which is supplied, or let's say which data which has been supplied from the business or client, um, should be taken into reference. Okay, and we'll be trying to make those values as LOV, and it will not be a frequent kind of change. It will be very rare change for these reference data. Okay, so and generally matching used to happen on the primary keys, if you see. Okay, because it is, as I said, it is a trusted attribute. It will be unique and it can't be changed. So we'll be considering that for the match and merge purpose. Okay, moving to the next slide. We have different kind of matchings, which is basic matching, which is ID matching. Another one is fuzzy matching. Okay, so matching is a kind of logic which we generally used for this automatic match and merge to happen. So when I have an entity, and in that entity I do have different uh, kind of tables, which is a subgroup of it. Okay, so I used to have a fuzzy matching. If I have a fuzzy ID, then those records will only undergo this match and merge process. Okay, uh, so ID matching is nothing but it's a system generated one that the Samarkey used to have. Okay, so based on that we used to do. And if you see in this example, for example, 101 Main Street versus 101 Main Street, it's nothing but ST is the keyword for street. Okay, and you see here the name, the difference in the name. So this is their long name, John Smith, versus if you see J Smith, it's nothing but J is their initial. So these kind of data, just imagine the same person is writing an address in different way, and those addresses are there in database. So in this case, which one we should keep? So all these, there are times where they will, the client will itself define that in the process of defining the golden data, you should remove all these keywords. You should not consider these keywords at all. Here, if you see in this example, it is ST, which is nothing but street. So ST might be one of the keyword. LTD, it is the keyword for limited. So all these keywords will be not considering at all, and it depends on their requirement. Okay, so like this, when you're giving name as a full name in one hospital and in another hospital you give something else, so which one should I survive? Okay, so if you see, data is beyond what we think. We can't even imagine how these are running in a background, how they are trying to sync up things. And you might have just logged into one application, and you will get a call from that application saying that we have seen that you have installed so and so, are you really interested in it? So how this happens really? So as a user, you go and log in, you download that particular application and you give your details to it, and there is somewhere somehow we are giving an option that a kind of check box, or you accept to the terms and conditions that yes, you can use my data anywhere, and so and so. So, and finally they used to sell this data. I'm not talking about this particular process. This is just in a general perspective I'm talking. Okay, so we get calls from different numbers saying that okay, you're interested in it, so can we proceed? They'll try to pitch their product if it is a sales thing, and they'll try to close things up. So this is how data, it plays a various role, and it is something very big in industry, I can say. um, so make sure that, I mean, whenever it is really not needed, you safeguard your data. Okay, this is something which is out of topic, that we are seeing today, but yes, make sure that you're using your data wisely. Okay, and moving on to this, so if you see here, when using this fuzzy matching, as I said, we define a kind of threshold for auto approval. I define if the matching of name is 60%, then you can automatically merge. I tell to Samarki, hey boss, if a matching is so and so, if it is above 60%, you automatically merge it. You need not ask us, like, we don't want any effort from human side to go and make sure that the data is auto merging. So Samarki itself will do it. Okay, so using these threshold values as a guide, the automatic approval of the records will happen. And if the record is kind of similar matching, but it has not reached to the threshold level, as I said, data steward will come into picture, and data stewardship action is being needed for them to manually go and review the record, and they'll go and confirm, okay, this record can automatically merge. I mean, automatically merge in the sense they'll be doing it manually, but if it is not as per the requirement, they will just ignore the record. So that will move out from the particular screen, which is the potential match, which we call it as, okay, which seems to be matching, but it has not reached the threshold. Okay. Moving to the next slide. You see here how this human in loop is, as I was telling you, this data stewardship validation happens when the data enters into this potential match queue, which we call it as, and it may be different as per the different tools that we use. At least in Samarki, we used to call it as a potential match queue. So a kind of manual intervention is also being needed. There are times where jobs, end-to-end jobs, even in Samarki, as I said, there will be multiple jobs which will be triggered based on the action that we take. For example, I'm trying to merge some records manually. So at that time, a kind of back-end job will be triggered, and all these are being defined by us, depending on the need, what job which needs to be run, and it undergoes different step. It undergoes the validation, and it used to historize the data, and it moves from one layer to another layer, and it makes sure that the historization happens, and finally it will reach the golden layer. So manual interventions is needed, especially when the data sometimes it fails, it fails because of some inconsistency of data which used to happen. And so these point of time, we wanted to make sure that we go and check the logs why that particular job has failed. And each and every job is a sequential process. It can't be run in a parallel way. So when one job is it has been stuck or getting suspended for some reason, we wanted to ensure that with the help of logs we are trying to resolve, we try to understand things and we are resolving it also. Okay. Data stewardship need is especially to take an action of the potential match records. And moving to the next slide, you see here this application, as per the need of the client, we keep the golden record and they can have a look upon it. Whatever data that they want, they can search from the system. Let's say example, we have Amazon and we have different products in it. So whatever product you need, you can go and search on it. So we make similar kind of features when they wanted to go and search for particular record. Let's say I want to see the records, I mean the profiles which are there in country India. So we go and keep kind of filter for the business to see only records which has country like India. Okay. They can also search with the name. We have different filters. Again, it is as per their requirement. They can search with their unique ID, let's say other ID. So when they do kind of search, those records will be displayed. So we create a kind of filter form which is really needed for the business to go and view the records as per their need. We define these filter forms. We keep the filters again as per their demands. Okay. So this kind of facilities is also provided, so that the finest record is being visible to them. And even for the data stewardship, they may have all the things in their mind, but when they wanted to understand this a set of rules, even in Simarchy we'll be defining it, and as per the access, the role access that we give, those specific modules, they can go and view it. Okay. So it is all about that. And moving to the next slide, you see here, initially what happens, the data has been given from the client. I do a kind of ETL process and it enters into Samarkey also. Once all the data has been finalized, I have the one best, finest and purest data which I can make sure to give it to the business for their various purposes, whatever it is. And how I'm going to give it. So as I said, we place the files in the shared path, and we have this visualization tools also which comes into picture. So here I'll take a moment to explain about these visualization tools. At least what I've been worked on is on these four tools. This ClickView, ClickSense, Tableau, and Power BI. So all these are data visualization tools. ClickView and ClickSense are something which was, I mean, which is at the present, if you ask me, they are not mostly used. And this reporting tool, which is there, super green in market now, at least, is Power BI and Tableau. Okay. So being a Power BI or Tableau developer is also very good, and there is a very high demand for these kind of developers. If you are really looking for a kind of career in, let's say, data related fields, you can be exploring, trying to learn about Informatica, Railshow, or Samarkey also. But again, as I said, it's a very niche tools. Not many companies take and work on Samarkey. Okay. So you can try to learn this stuffs, and if you are really interested in, graphical representation, so mostly it will be like, it's a drag and drop features if you wanted to learn Tableau and Power BI and all. And of course, an advanced level of visualization needs a kind of query also. You have to first understand the data set, how the requirement is. It's something a bit tricky, but once you are into it, you have a definitely good demands and needs in the industry. So if you're looking for any career in data fields, you can definitely study this Tableau or Power BI. Any one of the tool is okay. And if you ask me which is best, definitely both are good. Depending on the need of the client, they'll be choosing which reporting tool they can use to give their final data. Okay, so it's all about, see, MDM can feed the dimensional model, so the warehouse data. So whatever details which is needed for them, in this file you send me only five details of the profile. Okay, name, number, address, and so on. So in the next file you can send me with a different name, their Aadhaar and all. So it's something like that. It's as per the definition. So according to that, I can, so this BI and reporting tools, let's say in 2023, I wanted to know how many patients have taken a particular so and so medicine. Okay, so I wanted some kind of report like this. So for this, I will try to use this golden data, and I'll try to visualize something for them to understand, okay, this is what is the current scenario. So it's like a statistics that we that the person, the, so like a Power BI or the table of developer who used to pick it up, and they'll use to visualize it. Again, it is all linked to the database. They can try to pull the records from it. Okay, moving to the next slide, MDM is not reporting or analytics, so it is about the source. It's not about the end point. As I said, end point is final, the last 10th step, if you say. It's the visualization part, but MDM is the before stage of it. Okay, and the ETL stage is even before the MDM stage. Okay, so this is how the end-to-end process will be. You have to do any kind of ETL, then it goes for MDM, and finally it will be your giving the finest data that is in any kind of thing. So you see here this golden data, which is there with the help of reference data sets. We do lookups, and we separate it differently according to the needs. If they wanted it for social networks, so these are depending on the customers, the clients that we get it. If they are related to any social media platforms, so how it is going to help them. So we'll be trying to send out things in that way. So from data warehouse, if you ask me, I've worked in the first scenario, so the data will be there, and we'll be trying to export those things and giving in a Tableau or Power BI way for reporting. Okay, see, if you see the example I've mentioned, that customer by region, I can do that. When I'm just looking for people in India, I just wanted to see how many people have bought some product, so that data should be visible for them. So for that, they use different kind of graphs and all. If you get a chance, you can try to go through things in Google, or any videos if you need it, or any courses you can subscribe and also go through. Okay, and so if it is a graph based database, it is especially focusing for the social media networks and all. Okay, to analyze things. And data lakes, of course, it's for the entertainment of the analysis in the social media. So likewise, we used to separate the data, and data will be structurized based on that. Okay, moving to the next slide about the governance and the business process of MDM. As I said in the beginning, governance is all about defining the policies, the accuracy of data, how it should be, which one I should consider, and all. If you see, in fact, the latest, or generally the reports which will be shared by Gartner, I believe you might have been aware of Gartner. It is a kind of American-based research uh, industry, where they used to do a kind of research on multiple things, and they used to publish the data that this is so and so, like top 10 companies in IT, something like that. Okay, so as per that, if you see, the major reason why people or generally the companies fail in this MDM process is definitely they need a it's a big process, defining what data to be there in system and what not to be there, and how I'm going to map these data, and the way how we are going to communicate it to the end users. So it is all there in this kind of game, if you see. And when I send this data in a delayed way, or when there is some mislead of data from what the requirement is actually, this implementations of all which is adopted from the beginning fails. Okay, so that's the reason. I mean, it's not the reason, but it is again a kind of, as every system has its pros and cons. still a kind of manual interventions and a human checks and balances are needed here and there to make sure that the end-to-end process is good. We send a good data, the cleanest and the finest data, and no wrong data has been sent from the system. Because as I said, just imagine you're running a big any company and you're using that data in a lively manner, and if something goes wrong, how bad you will feel. So your company reputation will go wrong and people will not trust you, right? So that's the real need of this master data. I should make sure that only good data go out from the system. uh, for that we have, as I said, the matching rules, or be it the survivorship rule. And even after that, if something is going wrong, what happens is, I'll tell you, we'll have a, in a worst case, okay, this should not happen, and if it is happening, we'll try to trace back from the history tables why this data, particular data, has some way or the other, even though it has been auto merged by some marquee, why this has happened. This record, maybe those two records might have not merged, but something would have happened. So we'll try to jump back, okay, and trace it back to understand what is from there from the history tables. Okay, so we should make sure that there is no mislead of data, there is no delay in sending the files to the downstream system. And I mean the downstream system, it's again the clients with the different client requirements as per the needs we'll be sending it. So it all happens in a timely manner. Okay. um, and the next thing is a successful MDM process. If you see, it combines how the data quality is, how the process is, and how accountable the data is. If you see, the first thing is we are focusing on the data architecture, so which says about the system architecture, how we are designing the system, and how the data flow should be. And the next thing is the hierarchy. As I said, I'll be trying to define what is the parent table, what can be the child table for this particular set of data which I'm receiving from the business. And the next thing is about how I'm going to define this match rule or the survivorship rules and all. And finally, how I'm going to integrate these data with the finest one that I get from the system. Okay. And next thing, if you see, is about the data governance and the stewardship actions, which I was keeping on telling you. So we should make sure the data has been accountable, and stewardship will be taking actions on the data. Okay. And when we send each and every data, we should make sure that the validations which we are defining is very good. Even before, I emphasized more on match rules, survivorship rules. So even before that, we have cleansing rules, which means, I said in one example that the keywords will be removed. Like ST is the keyword for street, so I'll be trying to remove that. Guys, please be on mute. Okay. So removing the keywords from the data which has been provided from the client. So it's all been removed with help of the cleansing tools that we generally work with. So cleansing tool is something there. We have enrichers, we have steppers. I mean, steppers and all are for the UI way of presenting things. Okay, in this particular page, what data can be there? If I jump to the next page, what should be there? So for those, we have the steppers and all. So it's a full kind of development process. And when we should make sure that the validations have been happening for each and every record that we define. So for that, we have a validation rules also being defined. Okay. And next is the conflict resolution. So based on the business need, the prioritize, let's say today they will need only 10 files, and Monday means like 10 files, and Tuesday they want only 4 files. So we should make sure that on that particular day, whatever data that they are supplying, we make sure to run only those set of data, and we send them finally only the 4 files as per the need, and not the 10 files, which is generally sent out all the days. So that's all about the governance, the policies, how they are defining it. And the next thing, if you see, the business process alignment. Okay, here we will be talking about the process models. Okay, the physical and logical model, and it will be defining, it is being defined, and it will be different for each and every systems. And at one point of time, I was telling you about the mapping process. So which should be the source, which should be the destination, which field should be mapped to the other field in the another table. So primary tables and foreign tables. So that's all about the data mapping process, and it will be defined in the very beginning process of a development starts. Okay. And this CRUD is nothing but this create process, the read, update, and delete things. So who should do what? Everybody can't be given access for everything. So when a data is there, we should be very, very sure that we are not. One thing is we should make sure that we are giving a finest data. That is one thing. And the next most important thing is we should not corrupt the data which is sent to us. Meaning, I can't go and directly do. It's a possible for me in database. I can go and do a update for that particular record. I should make sure that these kind of mislead in data, this corruption, this is known as the data corruption part. Okay, these kind of things are not happening. This may be because of both the process, might be because of the backend update that sometimes we do. It's not a known process, but unknowingly that we do. And sometimes through the samarki process or any master data management tool process that used to run a data, there is chance of data corruption also which used to happen. Okay, so that is one thing. And so for all these things, the business, it should be based on the what we are aligned with the business. We should make sure. So as I said, it is a very big process. It is not something that we can sit and think in a minute or a day. It's a very big process, starting from where and how we design the architecture and how my data model should be, and how I'm going to map the data with and what is my next step as per the requirement, how I'm going to define the uh,
ஒரு
excuse me,
ஸ்கிரீனை
please
ஷேர் பண்றாங்கல்ல
can you please be on mute?
ரொம்ப தெரியும்
Um, so how I'm going to define all these rules and how these integration parts are going to be. So this is all something an end-to-end process, and it requires effort from various teams and tools and technologies to bring the one good data at the end. Okay, and if you see these intersections of data and data governance, which I was trying to talk. So these policies might change. So if you see in the first diagram, this enterprise wide business prioritization, you see this model, this they have a kind of different model. This is the enterprise conceptual data model. And if you see the other business, they have a logical model, they have physical model. So if you see this enterprise concept, it talks about how I'm mapping to customer and the logistics journey. So from there, I used to prioritize which data I should consider initially. So something like that. So this is how the enterprise data will work. And if you come to the next thing is the business and the technical alignment and how I'm going to implement it. So based on this, if you see in logical model, in business level, if you see, I wanted to understand what are the business rules that I'm going to use. I'm going to understand the merge criteria, survivorship rule criteria, and how I'm going to harmonize the data. Okay, I used to understand the workflow process, and I used to define a set of works for the data steward to act upon. And if you ask technical wise in a physical model, I should make sure that the data profiling is happening and the data quality is very good, and how I'm going to build the dashboards and all. And in the integration part, I should make sure to integrate the data and this CRUD matrix, which is the create,
Yeah.
read, update, and delete. And finally, how I'm going to publish the data. And moving to the next stage is the MDM platform admin. So we have a database admin also. So they used to, their works are generally to take the backups of the data at a given frequency level. Let's say 2 months once they should take a data backup. So something like that. We have a MDM platform admin too. So these are the different roles which are there in the right hand side of the slide. You can see the data owners, who's going to be the architect. We used to have analyst, business analyst for it. So we used to have an MDM architect. So depending on the model that we choose, we have different roles of peoples which uh, we need help from them to complete the end-to-end process. Okay, and finally, to keep it in short, as I said, uh, master data is something that I'm giving the finest and the purest data from my system, in such a way that there is no mislead of data, and it passes all the data qualities and check as per the defined guidelines of the data governance policies. And I should validate those even before sending them. And that is all about the master data management. And it has a different sequential process which used to happen one by one and even parallelly. And having all these together, finally giving them the end result to the business. So all together it makes the process, E to E, we used to say, which is end-to-end process, starting from loading, mastering the data to giving them as a visualization part. So putting all these two things together makes a business success. And if you ask me what is your career in MDM, or if you're really interested in these fields, I suggested two things. One is you can, if you want to be a kind of a data management developer, you can try to pick this Informatica ratio or Samarkey for that matter. On you have other MDM tools also, which you can Google and check it. So according to their interest, you can pick one and try to explore it. And then if you and the other choices, if you wanted to get into this visualization of you, if you're really interested in giving the best dashboards and all, so if you're okay with that, you can stick to the Power BI table, which is actually or until be evergreen in the next few days at least. So you can go with these two elements when we are talking about this master data. So guys, I'm end with my session. I'm okay with it. So now it's up to you. So which one to choose and what to choose, what not to choose, and how you're going to take it up. So this is the time for questions. So it's over to you guys. I mean, you can come up with your questions, and if you have any ideas and thoughts, if you can ask me, and if it meets my knowledge and expertise, I'll be happily taking it up, and I'll try to give you an answer for it. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for the patience. So, any questions that you have, at least a kind of, it's a very quick thing. Definitely, giving a complete knowledge is not possible in 1 hour of session, but at least I wanted to understand that, okay, this is how maybe data are really related in a real world, and when you want to enter into the IT fields and all. So, depending on that, you can choose things accordingly. Okay. Uh, to answer one question, I mean, I'll try to take up. If you want to unmute and ask, that is also very good, so that we can interact. Uh,
Ma'am,
yeah.
ma'am, what is fuzzy matching?
So fuzzy matching. So we have four different, three, let's say three or four different IDs which we use to define for a match and merge to happen. So if you ask me what is fuzzy matching, I will go and define an ID as per the Samarkey requirement. Okay, so which is the ID matching, and we have a separate thing which is called as basic entity of matching. So fuzzy matching, it generally deals with the record. When I'm developing that record, let's say I have a table and I have 10 attributes in that table. So in that 10 attributes, I'm defining two attributes to be fuzzy matched, meaning when I define only as fuzzy matching, that record can automatically undergo match and merge in the Samarkey process. You're getting my point. If you ask me why it can't happen in ID and basic matching, it can't happen because that is one unique feature of that particular tool. If I define that and that attribute, or let's say that entity also, if it as per the requirement to be fuzzy matched, that will be taken for the auto match and merge process. So it's a kind of value that we give to the system, we feed to the data for the next set of stages to happen. Let's say the merge to happen for that matter. Okay. Hope it answers your question.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
No. Okay. Um,
Yes,
any-
Sumit, it's a very good presentation, and also it is very clear. As a
okay.
beginners know that whatever you said, it is very clear connected to MDM. I have one question. It's not connected to the subject, but
Okay.
I know that nowadays, the many the people are moving towards data related courses like that.
Yeah.
And what are the various opportunities for them?
Mhm.
Maybe when they complete their course, like that. Just I wanted to ask this.
As I said, if you ask me about data, at least in this session, I would have given you three main elements. One is on the ETL process. If you really want to upskill in SQLs, I mean, SQL is a basic thing in data management, be it any tool that we take. it may be little variation will be there. Let's say for Samarkey we'll use SemQL, which is Samarkey SQL, which is known as SemQL, something like that. So it will be little variations in the syntax that we follow. So you have a wide opening in the industry. So you can be an ETL developer. I mean, to make it automated way, it's not only about SQL. SQL is the primary thing. To automate these jobs and all, we use JavaScript, Python, and all for the automations to happen. So I was just mentioning about the ETL process where data will be loaded from one table to another. And if you ask me, are you doing it through the database SQL scripts? It depends again, based on the way and the budget and all. Okay, so we'll be running it through the database SQL scripts also, and the other thing is through the Apache. This is like the automation process. So for all these things, I'll be needing these kind of query knowledges, like in Python and JavaScript, where I used to do automation for the jobs. So you can be an ETL developer, and if not, you can be a data management developer, which I was talking about the tools. Informatica and Railshow stuff, Simarkey too. Why I'm not insisting more on Samarkey is, as I mean, I was telling you, it is a very niche tool. I mean, let's say most of the companies will not take it up. It's a kind of tool which is trying to vanish in the market. And if you are really good, you can get a high pay also in Samarkey. Okay, that is one thing. And as sir was asking about what are the other opportunities, you can also be an visualization developer. You can get into this Power BI and Tableau. Trust me, there are many companies, as I said, there are different ways where data is coming into picture, and everywhere they wanted to manage this, and they wanted to be and they are taking everything to cloud now. So you can also be in cloud, and you can get into AWS. You can do some courses and certifications in AWS. That is one thing which is really needed. So AWS certification I'll suggest. And if you really wanted to initialize things, you should definitely learn SQL. And if you're okay with the Python or JavaScript, you can also go with that. Okay. Yes, sir. So this is all about it. Means it's a different way of requirement, where the client comes and says that, okay, we are trying to take this tool, and I mean, we'll be working on. But as a beginner, if you ask me, learn SQL, which is very basic, and do a kind of cloud-based certifications, which is really worth, be it in a Google way or Udemy or any platforms, which is really worthable. I know you have to spend few bucks on it, but it's okay to take, and it will value your profile when you're getting into the interview parts and all. Trust me, if you just be with it. I'm not sure which year at least the students are into, but if you choose this as a field, definitely it is not going to end in next 10 years, 20 years. Data is going to be there, and will keep on evolving, and you are going to survive in the industry. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Sumit. It's very good information. I hope the people are there in the session. They have a little confidence, no, some more confidence on this line. Thank you, Sumit, for explaining.
Okay, sir. Okay. Guys, I can see a few questions in chat. Let me try to take it up. Oh, there are many. See matching. Okay. What suggestions would you give to be included in curriculum for students for UG and PG, so that they will have some idea when they enter the real job? Alright. To this question, I know if you are a computer science student, you have DBMS as one of your paper. I'm not sure, at least when I passed out or when I was doing my UG, I had DBMS as one of my paper. And of course, if you, it's a very good chapter that each and every student should know this about, database and all. So it's a very good book. I mean, I'm not specific with the books, but it's a very good topic, which everybody should be strong at. Okay, the basic thing. where people will give important is on the data structures and all, okay, when it comes to the interviews. So if you're very good at data structures, the algorithms and all, you will have a very good market. Trust me, companies like, Amazons and all, they'll be paying you so much, in order to get into their company. You have to know the basics, and you have not only the basics, you have to be very strong in the data structures and algorithms and all. Okay, and other than that, if you ask me, database management system is one good and best thing, and you can also try to add this data visualization part. The main thing is it's not about the theoretical knowledge that they get. If you're okay to bring it in a laboratory way, where they can have some hands on in it, then it's a good option. Okay, because even in PG, they are trying to bring this Power BI and Tableau, for the MBA peoples that we are doing, for HR, or for any analytics related course that we choose. No, they are trying to bring all these things, so we have a separate lab for it. So it's okay, if you go with this Power BI and Tableau, also. Okay, so that is one suggestion. And next question is, ma'am, how data is handled in MDM from different systems, sources? To answer Kirtana's question, I think this is something that I've covered in the session, but again to repeat it, handled in MDM from, okay. So Kirtana, as I was telling you, in the initial set of process, we have this ETL which is happening, where it is a combination of all the data which is supplied from the different source system. A perfect transformation happens, and then it lands to the SD, or any table depending on the tools that they use. Okay, and if you ask me how it is handled, I really don't get the specific question that is all about, but if you have something specific, you can ask me. You can unmute and ask. And to answer this question, yeah, with the dates, at least in the ETL process before it enters into SD, we handle with the create dates, update dates, and the flag actions that happens usually. Okay. Um, uh, Okay, and if you ask me, in Samarki, we generate this unique ID, and that is how it is taken up. And that ID will be there throughout the data is going out, and even when it is coming next time. Okay, so that is one unique ID that we use to. It's a system generated ID. Okay, I think that's it. I don't have any more questions in the chat window, at least. If you have any more questions, guys, you can unmute and ask. Okay, okay, but trust me, you have a very good opportunities in industry if you're ready to explore and understand things in data related side. You can take it up. Let's not. I mean, if you're very confused on which to get in, but I can't put you more pressure saying that you should take up only this. You have different opportunities, IoT, networking, many fields are there, but it's also good. You can be confident to enter into data fields also. Okay. That's all, guys. That's all from my side. Is there much of opportunities in Infosys in TC stream? I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure on that. I have to check. And if you wanted to check on any openings of the company, if you want to apply as a fresher, definitely will not be able to refer anybody as a fresher, but you can go and check on their careers portal. Let's say, since I'm working in Infosys, there is something called as Infosys careers. So likewise, for any company that you want to get in, you have a careers page where you can go and check the requirements. There are few job roles which will be for freshers. You can go through the job description, which is known as JD. So you can review that, and you can apply for it. Okay, so it's not that you don't know which company is having openings for what. Every company has their careers page, and you're okay to go and search on that and apply if it is needed. Okay. Hope that's all from my side. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for being patient till the end and taking up the session. Have a very good day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sumita. It was a really great session. Thank you so much. We are getting good feedbacks through mail. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you, team. Thank you. And thanks for Pencil Bits for inviting me also. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Bye.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, where will you share the feedback link? Will it be
Yeah,
in the chat box or you will mail it?
I will mail it, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So I
Thank
can
you.
leave the session?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And thank you all. You can leave from the session.
okay, ma'am.